This is the Tom Anderson Show, broadcasting live from the KVNT studios, 7 to 9 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Abortion has been probably the most, not just prolific, but polarizing topic in presidential debates and U.S. Supreme Court hearings. Certain states are very much pro-life, other states are not. But I'll tell you one thing, most authors and activists and consultants and people intrigued by this or passionately concerned about it don't write books. Rarely do you see that. When you do see a hero that does such, I want to interview them, and that's Danielle D'Souza Gill, who's written the book, The Choice, The Abortion Divide in America. And yes, she is related to Mr. Dinesh D'Souza, who was on our program last week, brilliant scholar in and of his own right. Danielle, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you have the courage to research, contemplate, memorialize your thoughts and facts about the matter with a very controversial issue of abortion. The Choice, the Abortion Divide in America. Let's get to the basics. As an author, when did you decide to write this and what was the impetus?
Well, I moved to New York City after graduating from college. I went to Dartmouth, and I just saw Governor Cuomo light up the Freedom Tower pink to celebrate 9-month abortions for no medical reason. And he said that this is something the whole nation should follow. About 7 states allow 9-month abortions without a medical reason. And, we've heard Governor Northam of Virginia talk about how even after a baby is born, it can be kept comfortable and then a discussion will ensue and so on. And so I just felt like the issue of life and the issue of abortion was just something that we needed to really bring to the forefront of the debate and fight harder on our side, because I know that many on the left, that is their main issue.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's true. And, the myths you talk about, some say life begins when the baby is born. And of course, you and others say that's ridiculous. Abortion is simple, safe procedure, nonsense. There's a difference between a human being and a person. It's like, am I in the Twilight Zone? When I look at your myths, I think, well, these are obvious. Like, during the day, if there's not a cloud there, the sky's blue. But it's not obvious, is it? Is that kind of a theme of your book? It's like, Tom, audience, Americans, it's actually not obvious. Some people actually believe these myths.
Exactly. And I think that just goes to show how powerful the messaging is of the left. But I think that anytime you step out of the abortion debate, anytime I go on social media and see a friend post an ultrasound or anything like that, everyone knows exactly what's going on. They like, comment, congratulations, baby girl, baby boy. So we know exactly what's happening in the womb when we see an ultrasound, when we hear the heartbeat. And so when the left really tries to make it seem like it's a huge mystery, I think that's where, we have to really just bring ourselves back to reality.
Absolutely. You have been active, various TV and radio networks, certainly the Salem Radio Network, which we're part of, but Newsmax and Fox News. And the ones I'm particularly interested in, and obviously you have it in your genetics, good media and PR skills, and you're well-spoken, but PragerU, working with Professor Dennis Prager, and of course Turning Point USA is a biggie as an ambassador to that. And you served there, but PragerU, was that fun? And have you met Dennis Prager?
Yes, I have. I got to be on his radio show, and it was great. I actually made a video for them on racial discrimination on college campuses and how our college campuses are actually some of the most racist institutions because of affirmative action. And I talked about how they basically have this policy that goes against Asians because Asians are work very hard and they kind of outperform many groups. Colleges have to kind of nix them for that. So I'm half Indian, and I just felt like that would be a really interesting video. So I talked about that with them, but hopefully there'll be more coming soon on abortion.
And by the way, not to go on a rabbit trail, but boy, are you correct. And I have friends that are from India. I have friends that are from, you name it, from South Korea to Japan, and they've worked hard, and their kids have worked hard, and they score awesomely, and they live their lives awesomely, and all of a sudden they're denied. And it's like, huh? We want the best and the brightest in America. So I'll follow you, and I'd love to interview in the future on that topic as well. On this one, so you sell your book, you promote the merits of it, but we have a pesky little detail, Danielle, that's happening right now, and you know what it is because you're, I think, the youngest advisory board member of Women for Trump and the coalition of Donald J. Trump's campaign. You're part of that, and I'm certainly supportive on this radio show. What do you think is happening with the abortion vote in America? Do you think that could bring Trump a victory?
Absolutely. I remember when President Trump tweeted out a bunch of, a tweet storm, kind of firestorm. He tweeted out a bunch of different issues, 2A, go vote, pro-life, go vote, religious freedom, go vote, your 401k, go vote, and all of this. And the pro-life one, it got like one of the most likes and retweets of all of the issues that he posted about. So I think there are actually a lot more pro-lifers than we think. It's just that many of us are not the ones who are screaming the loudest and are in your face all the time. And really, it's at places like the March for Life that you see them come out very peacefully. But I think that they will show up to the voting booth, and I think they will be extremely influential in reelecting Trump, also because of his nomination of Amy Coney Barrett.
We're talking with Danielle D'Souza Gill. She's the author of The Choice, The Abortion Divide in America, here on the Tom Anderson Show. We'll explain and tell you how you can purchase the book and how you can follow her on social media and all the methods online. I have another Indian friend. Speaking of Indian, you brought up your ethnicity, and he cringed the other day, and I said, why? And he said, I found out that Kamala Harris is from my family's neck of the woods. And he said, I don't like her at all. And he says, I'm embarrassed. And not to say, just say you're African-American, that's okay. He didn't mean it like that, like Indians are better. He meant it like, I don't want to be synonymous with her. And I don't want her to be the first Indian anything. Without being pejorative, he might be such. How do you feel about that? And what do you think about the Biden-Kamala Harris ticket based on the subject matter of your book? They're probably the antithesis or polar opposite of how you feel, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm on the board of Indian Voices for Trump, so there's a very strong Indian support for Trump, and just the fact that Trump has been working so much with India when, China is clearly has some issues. We can't just rely on China. But I think that when it comes to abortion, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they are some of the strongest proponents of abortion. When videos were released of Planned Parenthood selling baby parts, talking about how much money they were selling them for, Kamala Harris, instead of prosecuting Planned Parenthood in California, decided to go after the investigative journalist who reported on that. So that shows, which side Kamala Harris falls on. But even if you look at their policies, they're in favor of federal funding for abortion. So that would mean that people like you and me who find that, very disturbing, we would have to pay for other people's abortions on demand. And that's what they're pushing for. So whenever Mike Pence said, in the VP debates, he said, I'm pro-life, I don't apologize for it. And then Kamala Harris said, oh, well, we're people of faith and all this, and used that as a shield. Well, that's kind of irrelevant when they're pushing pro-abortion policies.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I also agree with when authors write books and they have PR people and all thoughtful and smart, you guys are one of the better pitches where you really give good content. And Patricia Jackson did a great job for you because she just outlined everything. And I was really swooned by not just some of the excerpts from your book, but the notion that the left has really legitimized a form of mass killing. If you look at abortion in the country and you say, hey, it's dwarfing cancer, smoking, homicide, terrorism, war, all those things, and maybe dwarfs them all together. We would have to look at the statistics on that. So the freshness, the intelligence, as Patricia describes your book, is true. And I do want to get into, if we can hold you through the break, we'll come right back, quick break, and then we'll talk about how to purchase your book and how people can be active without making a spectacle. We don't need to go bomb abortion clinics or hurt someone, but there are other, I feel, instructive, intuitive, intelligent ways to make a difference. And particularly when we come back with Danielle D'Souza Gill, We'll talk about that, how people can help the president over the next week and a half. A lot of people haven't voted yet. So stay with us. She's the author of The Choice, The Abortion Divide in America. This is The Tom Anderson Show.
This is The Tom Anderson Show, broadcasting live from the KVNT studios, 7 to 9 a.m., Monday through Friday.
The Choice, The Abortion Divide in America. That's her latest book, Danielle D'Souza Gill. And folks, it's a hot topic beyond what many of you may realize. I'm in the political consulting world nationally with my firm, Optima, and we're finding with our offices in Vegas and Charlotte here in Alaska, you're seeing the debate in city council races where it doesn't even necessarily affect them. It might in a judicial sense at a local level, at borough levels, at state levels, certainly at the federal level, congressionally and U.S. Senate. And before the break, I left it with, hey, Trump and team, what can people do? Now, you're here to pitch and talk about your book, Danielle, but you also are supportive of Trump, and you're on enough advisory and support committees that you could speak on that, I think. Do you think that this book and encouraging people of faith, people pro-life to vote, because a lot of people say, yeah, we support Trump, we support Danielle, we support Tom, we love you guys, and then they don't vote. And, you never know unless you research it. What could prod them to vote? I think your book could.
Yeah, well, I think that honestly, a lot of people that I've talked to on the road, on the Women for Trump bus tour, we went down to South Texas and all kinds of places where there are swing voters. And I think the things that really shock them are the fact that, we've had our cities being destroyed by radical Antifa people, things like that. People have lost their businesses. They want to see the economy come back. And I think that everyone knows that Trump is the person to rebuild our economy, not Joe Biden. So I think even just on that matter, it's very clear. But, when we talk about family, when we talk about life, values, and the things that really matter to people, I think that the left they've just gone so far off the rails when it comes to it that so many people I know who aren't even necessarily conservative or religious or any of those things are starting to jump on the life bandwagon and realize that it is one of the greatest genocides of our time. It is killing, more and more babies every single day. And, if that doesn't motivate you to vote, then I don't know what will.
That's true. Has your dad spoken about this? We talked a little bit about it, and I know that he's trying to help the Trump team as well. And now we're, it's exigent. It's right in the last days of the campaign. You get out, you interview with folks, and maybe the wrong person to ask about being your dad who agrees with you and is supportive. Maybe let me ask it a different way. Have there been stations or groups or places where you've spoken or pitched the book where you had an antagonistic response?
Yes, definitely. Yes. Sometimes when I travel on the bus, we'd stop at different places, and sometimes there would be like media there or reporters who would want to talk to us, and they would just ask me questions and just keep asking me, hoping that at some point I would say something that would, look bad, and they just couldn't find anything. And I think they were just so perplexed by the fact that I was really trying to hammer home the point to them that we really are living in a time of fake news. And so, of course, them as reporters, they hate hearing that, and they don't even want to report on that. So, yeah, there's definitely antagonism constantly. And when it comes to abortion, wow, the left doesn't even want to talk to you about it because they know that once they do, they're not going to have a reasonable debate or a reasonable discussion. They're just immediately going to go into kind of really looking like people who advocate for killing.
Yep, and I found that in my client circles, political, I used to serve in the state legislature here in Alaska, and I would ask, hey, I'm not getting your mail. I'm the consultant. So in your mailbox, campaign mailbox for governor, for U.S. Senate, for Congress, are you getting anything on abortion, like a survey? And many are not. And I'm a lot your dad's age, but back in the day, we would get those, whether I was a candidate or consultant. Hey, where do you stand on this? And then there would be endorsements or money. Now it's not as big of I won't say it's not as an important of a topic, but it's what you alluded to, which is they don't really want to get into it. People don't want to say, oh, are you pro-choice? Yeah, I am. I don't mind aborting. I'm proud of that. No one's putting that on. Some do, but very few, as a banner of something righteous or good. on their campaign trail on the left. And that said, when we look at your book, and again, I want to remind people it's entitled The Choice, The Abortion Divide in America. As you get out and promote this, do you get into detailed debates on it, or is it more of a pitch? Because the arguments have remained the same, have they not? It's a life, it's not. It should be publicly funded, it shouldn't. It should be accessible so you're not in the back alley with the hanger or not. Maybe that's the better question. Have the bullet points on either side changed?
Yes, they've changed a lot because in the time of Roe v. Wade in 1973, people argued things on the life side like, well, maybe there's life in the womb. Maybe we have to give it the benefit of the doubt. There's potential life, all of this. And people didn't actually really know a lot about this. But since we've seen the development of the ultrasound, we can see the child in the womb. We can hear the heartbeat. The baby can live on its own outside the womb basically the entire third trimester. I mean, we've really moved to a point where there's no way that you can say it's not a human. And so that's why I think the left then has to pivot and say, okay, it's a human, but it's not a person. And of course, that's the argument that's used in order to dehumanize someone, basically warrant mass killing and torture of these people by saying that, human and person is not the same, when in reality, they are the same thing. And so I think the debate has changed a lot also in the sense that there are many Democrats who do argue that abortion is a good thing. They do argue that it's positive. They say abortion empowers women. They really try to make it like abortion is no longer a necessary evil. It's not safe, legal, and rare, as they used to say. We have almost 1 million abortions a year. And, when people celebrate abortion, there are organizations called Shout Your Abortion. Oprah has promoted it. Every Democrat that ran in the primaries for the presidential election was in favor of late-term abortion. So I think this idea that, the debate hasn't changed is not correct, because back in the old days, they used to say, okay, well, this is a very unfortunate situation. Maybe we should talk about special circumstances like rape and so on. It is so far beyond that now.
Agreed. You know what, folks? You can even go online to Newsweek, where Danielle, she had a recent op-ed, lays out the new abortion debate, particularly as it relates to the Supreme Court. We're going to make a YouTube video out of this interview. So in a few weeks or months, it may not be timely, but it certainly is right now, October 19th, 2020, when Amy Coney Barrett is headed to be the next Supreme Court justice filling Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat. So it is timeful and appropriate. And how can people, as we cut you loose here, Danielle, so you can keep promoting this awesome book? It's entitled The Choice, The Abortion Divide in America. How can people purchase it?
Yeah, so I'm Danielle D'Souza Gill. You can definitely find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible if you like listening to books, or ebook, any of those places. You won't miss it because it is bright pink. So it does pop out in the nonfiction political section of bookstores. Amongst the red, white, and blue books, it is bright pink. So you'll see it there.
Very clever. Like I say, you're cut from the same cloth as your old man. He's doing a great job. He's a hero in my book and a patriot. And we enjoyed not just interviewing him, but just as much interviewing you. I hope and wish you great success for sales and continued books. And we look forward to maybe having you here on the show in the future, okay?
I would love that. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle D'Souza Gill. Awesome name, awesome book, The Choice, The Abortion Divide in America. Folks, I encourage you to purchase that. We'll put that in the content section of our YouTube post, and then you can find out more. We'll put the link and the website and our Facebook and our Twitter and anything else you want, because this matters. It matters not just in American political cycles and circles and ballots and elections. It matters for the future. Literally, if there's ever been something that matters for future generations, it's tangibly, literally a future generation as a human. And if you abort a human, there's not going to be a future generation.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to reading her book. I've placed an order for it already, and I usually get Kindle. And I'm wondering about getting a physical book this time. But I plan to interview her on my show on a different day here in the near future. But thanks for doing that interview, Tom.
Yeah,
Really good.
absolutely. Well, and thanks to the D'Souzas for what they, by the way, did you hear her say Daniela? We should have asked that. It's not Danielle. And she giggled. So remember that on your end. It sounds like it's Danielle. And what a thoughtful young lady. Just out of college, it sounds like, and working hard. By the way, remember, next hour, we've got a billionaire. He's running for president. His name is Brock Pierce. He's in Alaska. He's going to be on at 8:35. Next up, we're going to talk about the new temporary mayor in the great city of Anchorage, Alaska. Folks, stay with us. Happy Monday. It's the Tom Anderson Show.